Welcome to Emerald Lake. It's me, it's Raven. Doo-doo-doo. There we go. We're doing some more poetry and spoopy-ish stories from Edgar Allan Poe. Thank you for the hydrate. I will hydrate. I'm gonna see those little popcorn frogs and wish that I had snacks more, aren't I? Okay. The bungles. Alrighty, so the plan is to start off with more Robert Service poems. There's a lot more poems than there is Edgar Allan Poe. Haha, more poems than Poe. And then we'll do one of Poe's stories. The first one is The Cask of writing it down in my little notebook again. Amontillado. Oh, please don't move around. Amontillado. And then back to Robert W. Service, sorry. But drop in your redeems whenever you'd like for the love of God. Oh my gosh. Montessor? What? There we go. There we are. If this will cooperate. Anyway. Okay, sorry. Braining. Well, brain not braining. That's what problems are. So the first poems from Robert W. Service that I'm starting with is called Tricolor. Drop your redeems whenever you'd like and I'll read them in between. Oh. There. Okay. Tricolor, the first of our poems here. Poppies, you try to tell me, glowing there in the wheat. Poppies, ah no, you mock me. It's blood. I tell you it's blood. It's gleaming wet in the grass. It's gleaming wet in the grasses. It's glistening warm in the wheat. It dabbles the ferns and the clover. It brims an angry flood. It leaps to the startled heavens. It smothers the sun. It cries. With scarlet voices of triumph from blossom and bough and blade. See the bright horror of it. It's roaring out of the skies, and the whole red world is a welter. ... Oh God, I'm afraid. I'm afraid. Cornflowers, you say just cornflowers, gemming the golden grain. Ah no, you can't deceive me. Can't I believe my eyes? Look. It's the dead, my comrades, stark on the dreadful plain, all in their dark blue blouses, staring up at the skies. Comrades of canteen laughter, dumb in the yellow wheat. See how they sprawl and huddle. See how their brows are white. Goaded on to the shambles, there in death and defeat. Father of pity, hide them. Hasten, O God, thy night. Lilies, the light is waning. Only lilies, you say, nestling and softly shining there where the spear grass waves. No, my friend, I know better. Brighter I see than day. It's the poor little wooden crosses over the quiet graves. Oh, how they're gleaming, gleaming. See, each cross has a crown. Yes, it's true, I am dying. Little will be the loss. ... Darkness. ... But look, in heaven a light, and it's shining down. ... God's accolade, lift me up, friends. I'm going to win my cross. Tricolor. What a fun, beat way to start the read. Okay. What's that? Big cough, big frog in throat. So did a big cough. Yeah, I forgot to say to kind of give the extra warning. These are not fun time stories. They go dark, and there's all the poems in this. Oh no! In this are. Ooh. Oh no, that's why. All of the poems in this book are from World War One, and yeah, dark. So there's your warning that it'll have mostly connections to that. But the next poem is a pot of tea. I should have given the warning earlier, but I'm getting used to the same people showing up, so I don't think it's relevant. Because, like, oh, you guys know. You've been here before. We've done this already. Alright, a pot of teas. You make it in your meston by the brazier's rosy gleam. You watch it cloud, then settle amber clear. You lift it with your bayonet, and you sniff the fragrant steam. New people in chat? Evidently not. Sorry. Lifted, you sniff the fragrant steam. The very breath of it is ripe with cheer. You're awful cold and dirty, and a cursing of your lot. You scoff the blushing aff of it, so rich and ripping hot, and pipe ripping hot, so rich and ripping hot. It bucks you up like anythink, just seems to touch the spot. God bless the man that first discovered tea. It looks like this is actually. Oh, okay. It looks like this is actually a bit of a accented one, but it's not very obvious. The blushin' aff of it would suggest that it would, and then anythink instead of anything. It seems like it's supposed to actually be a. But we've already started. Anyway. Since I came out to fight in France, which ain't the other day, I think I've drunk enough to float a barge, all kinds of fancy foreign dope from Caffey and Doulet. To rum they serves you out before a charge. In back rooms of estimates I've gurgled pints of cham. I don't know half the words that have just sprinkled in. Half the nouns, I mean. I've swilled down mugs of cider till I felt a bloomin' dam. But struth, they all ain't in it with the vintage of a Sam. God bless the man that first invented tea. I think them lazy lumps o' gods what kips on asphodel. Wow. Swigs nectar that's a flavour of oolong. I only wish them sons o' guns a grillin' down in L. Could have their daily ration of souchong. I only wish the sons of guns grillin' down in L could have their daily ration of souchong. Souchong? I don't know. Hurrah, I'm off to battle, which is L and Evan too. And if I don't give some poor bloke a sexton's job to do, tonight by Fritz's campfire won't I 'ave a gorgeous brew, for fightin' mustn't interfere with tea. Tonight we'll all be telling of the Boches that we slew, as we drink the giddy victory in tea. Sorry, I didn't recognize that that one was an accent. Okay. The next one is the revelation. The revelation. Why did my brain mix those up? same old sprint in the morning, boys, to the same old din and smut, chained all day to the same old desk, down in the same old rut, posting the same old greasy books, catching the same old train. Oh, how will I manage to stick it all if I ever get back again? Forcing the rhyme there, sorry, but... We've bidden goodbye to life in a cage, we're finished with pushing a pen. Ooh, hello, blep. We've bidden goodbye to life in a cage, we're finished with pushing a pen. They're pumping us full of bellicose rage, they're showing us how to be men. Okay. We're only beginning to find ourselves, we're wonders of brawn and thew. But when we go back to our sissy jobs, oh, what are we going to do? I'm eye-rolling immediately. Okay. For shoulders curved with the counter stoop will be carried erect and square, and faces white from the office light will be bronzed by the open air, and we'll walk with the stride of a new-born pride and a new-found joy in our eyes, scornful men who have diced with death under the naked skies. And when we get back to the dreary grind and the bald-headed boss's call, don't you think that the dingy window blind and the dingier office wall will suddenly melt to a vision of space of violent flame-scarred night? Then, ... oh, the joy of the danger thrill, and oh, the roar of the fight. Don't you think as we peddle a card of pins the counter will fade away, and again we'll be seeing the sandbag rims and the barbed wires misty gray? As a flat voice asks for a pound of tea, don't you fancy we'll hear instead the night wind moan and the soothing drone of the packet that's overhead? Don't you guess that the things we're seeing now will haunt us through all the years? Heaven and hell rolled into one, glory and blood and tears. Life's pattern picked with a scarlet thread where once we wove with a gray, to remind us all how we played our part in the shock of an epic day. Oh, we're booked for the great adventure now, we're pledged to the real romance. We'll find ourselves or we'll lose ourselves somewhere in giddy old France. We'll know the zest of the fighter's life, the best that we have we'll give. We'll hunger and thirst, we'll die, ... but first we'll live, by the gods we'll live. We'll breathe free air and we'll bivouac under the starry sky. Bivouac under the starry sky. I don't know that word. We'll march with men, we'll fight with men, and we'll see men laugh and die. We'll know such joy as we never dreamed, we'll fathom the deeps of pain, but the hardest bit of it all will be when we come back home again. For some of us smirk in a chiffon shop, and some of us teach in a school. Some of us... Is that supposed to be chiffon? It looks like two separate words. Some of us smirk in a chiffon shop, and some of us teach in a school. Some of us help with the seat of our pants to polish an office stool. Oh. The merits of somebody's soap or jam some of us seek to explain, but all of us wonder what we'll do when we have to go back again. And that's the end of that one. Interesting. Okay. The next one is Grand-Père. And Grand-Père. There we go. I had to check how to do the accent on this new clicky-clacky keyboard. Okay. Grand-Père. And so when he reached my bed, the general made a stand. My brave young fellow, he said, I would shake your hand. So I lifted my arm to the right, the right, with never a hand at all, only a stump, a sight, fit to appall. Well, well, now that's too bad. That's sorrowful luck, he said. But there, you give me, my lad, the left instead. So from under the blanket's rim I raised and showed him the other, a snag as ugly and grim as its ugly brother. He looked at each jagged wrist, he looked but he did not speak. Then he bent down and kissed me on either cheek. You wonder now, I don't mind, I hadn't a hand to offer. They tell me, you know I'm blind. 'Twas Grand-Père Joffre. I don't know what this is about. I'm very confused. What does this have to do with your grandfather? Okay, not sure. But I have no way to figure that out. Alright. The next poem and the last one before redeem. So drop your redeems in. Go ahead and submit them now, and I'll do them right after this poem. Sun. No, definitely no accent on this one. Sorry, I missed the one accent. Holy heck, could you even hear me? My mic was weirdly low. What was that? Could you even hear me, folks? Frickin' weird. Okay. Anyway. Sun. Thought I was going deaf for a second. No, somehow the mic got moved. Sorry about that. I was adjusting the text and I think the mic thing on OBS got pulled way down for no good reason. Okay, here you go. He hurried away, young heart of joy, under our Devon sky, and I watched him go, my beautiful boy, and a weary woman was I. For my hair is grey, and his was gold, he'd the best of his life to give, and I'd loved him so, and I'm old, and he's all I had to give. Ah yes, he was proud and swift and gay, but oh, how my eyes were dim. With the sun in his heart he went away, but he took the sun with him. For look how the leaves are falling now, and the winter won't be long. Oh, my boy with the sunny brow and the lips of love and of song. No worry, Cage, I don't take attendance. I'm gonna keep saying that every time you guys say that you're late. You're not late. Okay. How we used to sit at the day's sweet end, we two by the firelight's gleam, and we drift to the valley of Let's Pretend on the bountiful river of Dream. Oh dear little heart, all wealth untold would I gladly, gladly pay, could I just for a moment closely hold that golden head to my grey. For I gaze in the fire, and I'm seeing there a child, and he waves to me, and I run and I hold him up in the air, and he laughs and shouts with glee. A little bundle of love and mirth, crying, "Come, Mumsy dear." Ah me, if he called from the ends of the earth, I know that my heart would hear. I won't stop, Ravens. It just keeps telling me you don't take it. I don't take attendance, Predicistosilicus. You guys are fine. You're not late. A viewer arrives entirely when they mean to. They are not late, they are not early. Okay, sorry, keep going with the poem. Frigid, stop. You being a little shit. I need to focus on a sad poem, ain't I? Okay. Yet the thought comes thrilling through all my pain. How worthier could he die? Yeah, a loss like that is a glorious gain, and pitiful proud am I. For peace must be bought with blood and tears, and the boys of our hearts must pay. And so in our joy of the after years let us bless them every day. And though I know there's a hasty grave with a poor little cross at its head, and the gold of his youth he so gladly gave, yet to me he'll never be dead. And the sun in my Devon lane will be gay, and my boy will be with me still. So I'm finding the heart to smile and say, O God, if it be thy will. That's the end of that poem. And we'll be moving on to redeems. Hi! Oh, Jeremiah's prosa? Jeremiah's prosa? Either way. Hi, welcome. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the stretch. I will do a stretch. Okay. Yes, alright. I will do the posture check after we've done the other redeems, I think. But let's move on to scissor snips. There we go. Grab some popcorn. No. Ooh, decidedly not a popcorn fan. Okay. It's scissor snips first. And we'll do the others. Alright. For scissor snips. And there were our scissor snippings. We'll do taps. Gosh, it did it again. Thank you for saying that. I just saw it. Why does it keep doing that now? This is super weird. I don't like this. I don't understand why it's doing that, but thank you for catching that, Frigid. Ugh, okay, anyway, I'm tapping my book, my poetry book that we're reading from. Hello, Roderick. Rodriog. Whatever. was the book. Tappy taps. But good tap taps. Who's that Pokemon? Random Roger noises. Okay, then I'll do humming and then tin in a plastic jar, and then I'm gonna check my posture before I go into the next reading. Hi, Vet. New fluffy tail. That's pretty. I don't think we've seen this one. It's cute. Okay. Humming. Let's hope the mic doesn't do weirdness. Nice tails, Bridget. Those are cute. Oh my goodness. What the heck? Putting a tail on a frog. I mean, he is radioactive. He could be looking like anything. But okay, we're gonna do tin and plastic jar, and then I'm gonna do my posture check when I switch into the next. We'll be reading the first Edgar Allen Poe story next. Okay. Hi, turtle. Hello. There we go. Hello. Alright. Here's the next thing. Okay, so that was that. And I'll do a quick posture check and settle in for the Cask of Amontillado. Oh, I'm afraid. Oh, okay. We gotta swap it around. It's probably one of my least favorite Poe stories. Fair enough. Oh, is that what that looked like? That was not how that was supposed to look. It was supposed to look like that. Oh well, okay. Let's make sure of spelling. Is that right? Last time, yeah, okay. Yes, is the spelling correct? Apparently so. Alrighty. The Cask of Amontillado. Mm-hmm. The 1,000 injuries of Fortunato I had borne as best I could, but when he ventured upon insult I vowed revenge. You, who so well know the nature of my soul, will not suppose, however, that I gave utterance to a threat. At length I would be avenged. This was a point definitely settled, but the very definitiveness with which it was resolved precluded the idea of risk. I must not only punish, but punish with impunity. A wrong is unredressed. When retribution overtakes its redresser. It is equally unredressed when the avenger fails to make himself felt as such to him who has done the wrong. It must be understood that neither by word nor deed had I given Fortunato cause to doubt my good will. I continued, as was my wont, to smile in his face, and he did not perceive that my smile now was at the thought of his immolation. He had a weak point, this Fortunato. Although in other regards he was a man to be respected and even feared, he prided himself He prided himself on his connoisseurship, Um, on his connoisseurship in wine. There we go. I lost it and then I saw your comment and I focus. Okay. Few Italians have the true virtuoso spirit. For the most part, their enthusiasm is adopted to suit the time and opportunity to practice imposture upon the British and Australian millionaires. What a... I was just referencing this over the weekend when I was fixing the Porsche glasses, which involved bolting panels into place, locking me underneath, though I had a window to crawl into. I have seen it referenced a few times, and I quite enjoy it, but I have not read it through ever, so this is fun. Okay. In painting and gemmery, Fortunato, like his countrymen, was a quack. But in the matter of old wines he was sincere. In this respect I did not differ from him materially. I was skilful in the Italian vintages myself, and bought largely whenever I could. It was about dusk, one evening during the supreme madness of the carnival season, that I encountered my friend. He accosted me with excessive warmth, for he had been drinking much. The man wore motley. He had on a tight-fitting party-striped dress, and his head was surmounted by the conical cap and bells. I was so pleased to see him that I thought I should never have done wringing his hand. I said to him, "My dear Fortunato, you are luckily met. How remarkably well you are looking today, but I have received a pipe of what passes for Amontillado, and I have my doubts." "How?" said he. "Amontillado? A pipe? Impossible. And in the middle of the Carnival." "I have my doubts," I replied, and I was silly enough to pay the full Amontillado price without consulting you in the matter. You were not to be found, and I was fearful of losing a bargain. Amontillado! I have my doubts. Amontillado. And I must satisfy them. Amontillado! As you are engaged, I am on my way to Lucrece, I don't know for sure. If anyone has a critical turn, it is he. He will tell me, Lucrece, I'm guessing, sorry, cannot tell Amontillado from sherry. And yet some fools will have it that his taste is a match for your own. Come, let us go. Whither? To your vaults. My friend, no, I will not impose upon your good nature. I perceive you have an engagement. Lucrece, I have no engagement. Come. My friend, no, it is not the engagement, but the severe cold with which I perceive you are afflicted. The vaults are insufferably damp. They are encrusted with Nitra? I don't know that. Nitre. Okay, let us go. Nevertheless, the cold is merely nothing. Amontillado! You have been impressed upon. And as for Lucrece, he cannot distinguish sherry from Amontillado. Thus speaking, Fortunato possessed himself of my arm, and putting on a mask of black silk, and drawing a roquelaire closely about my person, I suffered him to hurry me to my palazzo. There were no attendants at home. They had absconded to make merry in honor of the time. I had told them that I should not return until the morning, and had given them explicit orders not to stir from the house. These orders were sufficient, I well knew, to ensure their immediate disappearance, once and all, as soon as my back was turned. I took from their sconces 2 flambeaux, and giving one to Fortunato, bowed him through the several suites of rooms to the archway that led to the vaults. I passed down a long and winding staircase, requesting him to be cautious as he followed. We came at length to the foot of the descent, and stood together upon the damp ground of the catacombs of the Montresors. The gait of my friend was unsteady, and the bells upon his cap jingled as he strode. "The pipe," said he. "It is farther on," said I. "But observe the white web-work which gleams from these cavern walls." He turned towards me and looked into my eyes with 2 filmy orbs that distilled the rheum of intoxication. "Nitra, or nitra? I still don't know yet," he asked at length. Nitra, I replied. "How long have you had that cough?" My poor friend found it impossible to reply for many minutes. "It is nothing," he said at last. "Come," I said, with decision. "We will go back. Your health is precious. You are rich, respected, admired, beloved. You are happy, as once I was. You are a man to be missed." Did I miss? No, I didn't miss a page. You are a man to be missed. For me it is no matter. We will go back. You will be ill, and I cannot be responsible. Besides, there is Lucrece." "Enough," he said. "The cough is a mere nothing. It will not kill me. I shall not die of a cough." "True, true," I replied. And indeed I had no intention of alarming you unnecessarily, but you should use all proper caution. A draught of this medic will defend us from the damps." Here I knocked off the neck of a bottle, which I drew from a long row of its fellows that lay upon the mould. "Drink," I said, presenting him the wine. He raised it to his lips with a leer. He paused and nodded to me familiarly, while his bells jingled. "I drink," he said, "to the buried that repose around us." "And I to your long life." He again took my arm, and we proceeded. "These vaults," he said, "are extensive." "The Montresors," I replied, "were a great and numerous family." "I forget your arms." A huge human foot d'or in a field azure, the foot crushes a serpent rampant whose fangs are embedded in the heel. And the motto? I will have to look this up. Nemo me impune lascit. Nemo me impune lascit. Good, he said. The wine sparkled in his eyes and the bells jingled. My own fancy grew warm with the medic. We had passed through the long walls of piled skeletons, with casks and puncheons intermingling into the inmost recesses of catacombs. I paused again, and this time I made bold to seize Fortunato by an arm above the elbow. The nitre, I said. See, it increases. It hangs like moss upon the vaults. We are below the river's bed. The drops of moisture trickle among the bones. Come. We will go back ere it is too late. Your cough. It is nothing, he said. Let us go on. But first, another draught of the medic. I broke and reached him a flagon of de Grave. He emptied it at a breath. His eyes flashed with a fierce light. He laughed and threw the bottle upwards with a gesticulation I did not understand. I looked at him in surprise. He repeated the movement, a grotesque one. You do not comprehend, he said. Not I replied. Then you were not of the Brotherhood. How? You are not of the Masons. Yes, I said. Yes. You? Impossible. A Mason? A Mason, I replied. A sign, he said. A sign. It is this, I answered, producing from beneath the folds of my roquelaire a trowel. You jest, he exclaimed, recoiling a few paces. But let us proceed to the Amontillado. Be it so, I said, replacing the tool beneath the cloak, and again offering him my arm. He leaned upon it heavily. We continued our route in search of the Amontillado. Yes, that's it, Fetster. That's the one I got stuck on. I can't tell what pronunciation they would want, and I haven't read it, so I don't fully know its meaning, but I'm getting from its niter. Okay, there you go. See? Niter. Okay. I've lost. Be it so, I said, replacing the tool beneath the cloak, and again offering him my arm. He leaned upon it heavily. We continued our route in search of the Amontillado. We passed through a range of low arches, descended, passed on, and descending again, arrived at a deep crypt in which the foulness of the air caused our flambeau rather to glow than flame. Says it's potassium nitrate, but he's referred to, it sounds like two different wines is what he's given him. He gave him a flagon of de Grave, and then before that it was a different... Oh no, that's the medic. Never mind. Okay. Oh no, where is I? Oh yes, okay, sorry. Found it again. Pass through a range of low arches. Mineral deposit found. Oh yes, there you go. Passed through a range of low arches, descended, passed on, and descending again, arrived at a deep crypt, in which the foulness of the air caused our flambeau rather to glow than flame. At the most remote end of the crypt, there appeared another less spacious. Ooh, thank you for the follow, Drake Crimson Lionheart. Fun. But welcome. Okay. Mineral, yes. Okay. I don't know why I mixed up when they said nitro and when they said medic, but for a minute I did. Okay. At the most remote end of the crypt, there appeared another less spacious. Its walls had been lined with human remains piled to the vault overhead, in the fashion of the great catacombs of Paris. 3 sides of this interior crypt were still ornamented in this manner. From the 4th side the bones had been thrown down and laid promiscuously upon the earth, forming at one point a mound of some size. Within the wall thus exposed by the displacing of the bones were perceived a still interior crypt or recess, in depth about 4 feet, in width 3, in height 6 or 7. It seemed to have been constructed for no especial use within itself, but formed merely the interval between 2 of the colossal supports of the roof of the catacombs, and was backed by one of their circumscribing walls of solid granite. It was in vain that Fortunato, uplifting his dull torch, endeavored to pry into the depth of the recess. Its termination the feeble light did not enable us to see. "Proceed," I said. "Herein is the Amontillado. As for Lucrece, he is an ignoramus," interrupted my friend. "Ooh, I'm just seeing your message. Yeah, my evening's going pretty well. How sweet. I hope yours is as well. It's going decent for me, just trying to relax. Well, then I hope that this helps. It's a little bit spoopy. And then we'll get to very sad in a bit when we go back to poems. But anyway. You can submit your redeems, by the way, guys, while I'm up looking up. And I'll get to them as soon as we're done the story. It's not that long now. Okay. "He's an ignoramus," interrupted my friend, as he stepped unsteadily forward, while I followed immediately at his heels. In an instant he had reached the extremity of the niche, and finding its progress arrested by the rock, stood stupidly bewildered. A moment more, and I had fettered him to the granite. In its surface were 2 iron staples, distant from each other about 2 feet horizontally. From one of these depended a short chain, from the other padlock. Throwing the links about his waist, it was but the work of a few seconds to secure it. He was too much astounded to resist. Withdrawing the key, I stepped back from the recess. "Pass your hand," I said, over the wall. You cannot help feeling the nitre. Indeed, it is very damp. Once more, let me implore you to return. No? Then I must positively leave you. But I must first render you all the little attentions in my power." "The Amontillado!" ejaculated my friend, not yet recovered from his astonishment. "True," I replied, "the Amontillado." As I said these words, I busied myself among the pile of bones of which I have before spoken. Throwing them aside, I soon uncovered a quantity of building stone and mortar. With these materials, and with the aid of my trowel, I began vigorously to wall up the entrance of the niche. I had scarcely laid the first tier of the masonry when I discovered that the intoxication of Fortunato had in a great measure worn off. The earliest indication I had of this was a low moaning cry from the depth of the recess. It was not the cry of a drunken man. There was then a long and obstinate silence. I laid the 2nd tier, and the 3rd and the 4th, and then I heard the furious vibrations of the chain. The noise lasted for several minutes, during which, that I had hearkened to it with the more satisfaction, I ceased my labours and sat down upon the bones. When at last the clanking subsided, I resumed the trowel, and finished without interruption the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th tier. The wall was now nearly upon a level with my breast. I again paused, and holding the flambeau over the mason work, threw a few feeble rays upon the figure within. A succession of loud and shrill screams, bursting suddenly from the throat of the chained form, seemed to thrust me violently back. For a brief moment I hesitated, I trembled. Unsheathing my rapier, I began to grope with it about the recess. But the thought of an instant reassured me. I placed my hand upon the solid fabric of the catacombs, and I felt satisfied. I reapproached the wall. I replied to the yells of him who clamored. I re-echoed, I aided, I surpassed them in volume and in strength. I did this, and the clamorer grew still. It was now midnight, and my task was drawing to a close. I had completed the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th tier. I had finished a portion of the last and the 11th. There remained but a single stone to be fitted and plastered in. I struggled with its weight. I placed it partially in its destined position, but now there came, from out the niche, a low laugh that erected the hairs upon my head. It was succeeded by a sad voice which I had difficulty in recognizing as that of the noble Fortunato. The voice said, "Ha ha ha, he he he, a very good joke indeed, an excellent jest. We will have many a rich laugh about it at the palazzo, he he he, over our wine, he he he." "The Amontillado," I said. "He he he, yes, the Amontillado. But is it not getting late? Will not they be awaiting us at the palazzo, the Lady Fortunato and the rest? Let us be gone." "Yes," I said, "let us be gone." "For the love of God, Montresor." "Yes," I said, "for the love of God." But to these words I hearkened in vain for a reply. I grew impatient. I called aloud, "Fortunato!" No answer. I called it again, "Fortunato!" No answer still. I thrust a torch through the remaining aperture and let it fall within. There came forth in return only a jingling of the bells. My heart grew sick. It was the dampness of the catacombs that made it so. I hastened to make an end of my labor. I forced the last stone into its position. I plastered it up. Against the new masonry I re-erected the old rampart of bones. For the half of a century no mortal has disturbed them. In pace requiescat. And that is the end of that one. So, now I'd be doing redeems. Don't think anybody redeemed anything. Oh, may have gotten very sick, so laying down. Saw you in my recommendations for ASMR. Thank you for checking me out then. I appreciate you being here. Oh. A yawn attack, sorry. Oh, thank you for the stretch. Okay. And then sticks rustle. And then hydrate. Oh, I can hydrate now. Noisy. Hi, Chris. Hello. Welcome in. Why is your little emote Angie? Why Angie? I can draw dreams that are helpful to the streamer. That counts for something. Thank you. If you want, you can also just tell me something that you would like if you don't have the bits. Especially, not the bits, the ribbits. But if you see that no one else is redeeming things, I'm happy to do that for sure. But even when there is people, I'm not picky about it. Okay, sticks to wrestle. Ooh, go ahead and hit us with a question. I'm gonna start wrestling the sticks though for Fet. Have I thought about reading certain books on stream? Well, I don't know what certain books is. Whoa, mic being weird in my headphones. Sure, it's fine for you, but I think I know what you mean, and I'm just worried about Twitch getting upset and banning me. I do have I do have one that I was supposed to do. I was going to read fanfics for stream, but I'm nervous because apparently they can send bans for stuff, and I'm nervous about it. And I wanted to try and get clarification, and I have not. So, well. What I mean is like Star Wars or Winnie the Pooh book. Yes, I'm happy to read books on the stream. Technically, I actively am a little book of Edgar Allan Poe and a little book of poems, but the trouble with bigger books is that I have to break it up so that there are redeems in between things, or I have to tell people, okay, this is a no redeem stream, and it's just reading. It's not typical. Oh my gosh, it's not typical ASMR, so there's not redeems. And that is and isn't okay. It's like, oh, anyway. Alright, stick still. Here we go. Okay, those are away. And I'm just gonna adjust myself again. Do we have any other redeems or requests? Because if not, we'd be jumping into more poetry from Rhymes of a Red Cross Man, the World War I book, Robert W. Service. I'll give you guys a moment. I have to write out. I ought to write out poems again anyway. I like to keep track of all the ones that I'm about to read. More so, I like to know what I have read, but is the dice like D&D dice? Weird question. Yeah, it's a set for D&D, but I mean, they would sound the same probably. I'm guessing by your asking about them that is what you would like me to do. So even if you didn't, I'll do dice next. Alright, dice time. fell off. Okay, let's see what the D20 says when I roll them all. It says 7. Okay. We'll move to poems now, but I gotta pick up that die that fell on the ground. At least it's not a 1, yeah. Okay. Now reading The Black Dudeen is what it says. Not sure what that means. Oh, Fett, you rolled worse than me. Oh, at 3. And you didn't do much better, Drake Crimson. Nobody did good rolls. At least we're all in it together. Okay. Here we go. Hi, Brady. Welcome in. We've got more of that World War I poetry book. The Black Dudeen goes on for a little while. It is not accent. That's not, well, that one just has some French, but it's not an accent. That's not an accent. That one is. Okay, so we do have one that is an accent at the end. We'll be back into Goofy a little bit. Oh God. Were you here for the other one, Brady? Were you here for the last stream of the poetry stuff? It can be mildly goofy, but mostly a little sad. Anyway. Okay. Oh. Well. Brace yourself. From the book that's called Rhymes of a Red Cross Man. Author is Robert W. Service, the poet, I guess, guy. And we've gotten to The Black Dudeen. Here we go. Humping it here in the dugout, sucking me black dudeen. I'd like to say in a general way there's nothing like nicotine. Okay, so this is about tobacco. Lovely. And a miniature statue of a bullfrog with sharp teeth. It's saying beware a frog. Whoa. Well, alrighty then. That's sure something. Okay, anyway. There's nothing like nicotine. There's nothing like nicotine, my boys, be it pipes or snipes or cigars. So be sure that a bloke has plenty to smoke if you wants him to fight your wars. When I've eat my fill and my belt is snug, I begin to think of my baccy plug. I whittle a fill in my horny palm, in the bowl of me cold play pipe I cram. I trim the edges, I tamp it down, I nurse a light with an anxious frown. I begin to draw and my cheeks tuck in, and all my face is a blissful grin, and up in a cloud the good smoke goes, and the good pipe glimmers and fades and glows. In its throat it chuckles a cheery song, for I likes it hot and I likes it strong. Oh, it's good is grub, when you're feeling hollow, with the best of a meal's the smoke to follow. There was Mickey and me on a night patrol. Hi, Darkstorm, welcome in. There was Mickey and me on a night patrol, having to hide in a fizz-bang hole. And sure, I thought I was worse than dead, with 'em crump hustlin' over me head. Oh. Okay, so did we just... We've just turned hard right into an accent, and I'm gonna go for it. There's just suddenly... Okay. There was Mickey and me on a night patrol, having to hide in a fizz-bang hole. And sure I thought I was worse than dead, with them crumps hustlin' over me head. Sure I thought 'twas the dirty spot, hammer and tongs till the air was hot, and mind you, water up to your knees, and cold, a monkey of brass would freeze. And if we ventured our noses out, a typewriter clattered its pills about. It put typewriter in quotes. I'm guessing that it's not a typewriter. The field of glory, well, I don't think I'd sooner be safe and snug in clink. Then Mickey, he goes and he cops one bad. He always was having ill luck, poor lad. Says he, old chummy, I'm booked right through. Death and me as a rendezvous. Rendezvous, not wrong day. Wrong, with a G in it. Death and me as a rendezvous. But, haven't you a pinch of shag? I'd sell me perishin' soul for a cigarette. And there he shivered and cussed his luck, so I gave him me old black pipe to suck. Gave him what? Okay. Okay. And he heaves a sigh and he takes to it like a baby takes to his... Oh, this one just keeps getting more fun. Okay. And he heaves a sigh and he takes to it like a babby takes to his mommy's tit, like an infant takes to his mother's breast. Poor little Mickey, he went to rest. But the dawn was near, though the night was black, so I left him there and I started back. And I laughed as the silly old bullets came, for the bullet ain't made what's got me name. Yet some of 'em buzzed on unhealthily near. And one little blighter just chipped me ear. But there, I got to the trench all right, when sudden I jumped with a start of fright, and a word that doesn't look well in type, I'd clean forgotten me old clay pipe. So I had to do it all over again, crawling out on that filthy plain, through the shells and bombs and bullets all, only this time I do not crawl. I run like a man what's missing a train, or a tomcat caught in a plump of rain. I hear the spit of a quick-fire gun tickle my heels, but I run, through crash and crackle and flicker and flame. Oh, the packet ain't issued what's got me name. I run like a man that's no idea of hunting around for a souvenir. So funny some of the ways that they spell the non-words to get the accent across. I run bang into a German chap, and he stares like an owl, so I bash his map. And I just show him that I'm his boss. I gives him a nick on the parados, and I marches him back with old me serene, with tucked in me gub, me old Dudeen, which I'm guessing is the pipe. Sittin' here in the trenches, me heart's a splittin' me with spleen, for a parcel o' lead comes missin' me head, but it smashes me old Dudeen. God blast that red-headed sniper, I'll give him something to snipe. Before the war's through, just see how I do, that blighter that smashed me pipe. This man went on a hell of an adventure just for you to... It's just like our haggis boys. It's so disappointing. I'm noticing a theme. Yeah, I'm glad everybody reacted to everything. Which one caught you? Name is Dave. Which part surprised you? How about you, Fett? Which one got you? There was plenty in that like two verse section. Plenty to it. I'm gonna type out the next poem though, while you maybe say so many things. So many things indeed. The next one is the little pew pew. Not pew pew, but pew pew. Yeah, it has bits of French, so this is going to be interesting. I gotta do that all over again. I'm not equipped for this, but I do try. Okay. The little pew pew. Oh, some of us lolled in the chateau, and some of us slinked in the slum. But now we are here with a song and a cheer to serve at the sign of the drum. They put us in trousers of scarlet, in big sloppy ulsters of blue, in boots that are flat, a box of a hat, and they call us the little pew pew. Pew pew, the laughing and quaffing, the pew pew, the swinging and singing pew pew. And so with a rattle we march to the battle, the weary but cheery pew pew. This is the French soldiers. Encore un petit verre de vin pour nous mettre en route. Encore un petit verre de vin pour nous mettre en train. I'm guessing. They drive us head on for the slaughter. We haven't got much of a chance. The issue looks bad, but we're awfully glad to battle and die for La France. La France. But it's, the rhyme is the English. And anyway, okay. For some must be killed, that is certain. There's only one duty to do. So we leap to the fray in the glorious way they expect of the little pew pew. En avant! The way of the gallant pew pew, the dashing and smashing pew pew. The way grim and gory that leads us to glory is the way of the little pew pew. Pew pew, pew pew. I know. Allons enfants de la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. 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 I don't know if they want that to rhyme with patrie, but arrivé. Anyway. Today you would scarce recognize us, such veterans war-wise are we. So grimy and hard, so calloused and scarred, so crummy, yet gay as can be. We've finished with trousers of scarlet, they're giving us breeches of blue, with a helmet instead of a cap on our head, yet still we're the little pew pew. Nous les aurons. The jesting, unresting pew pew. The jeering, unfearing pew pew. The keep your head level and fight like the devil. The dying, defying pew pew. À la baïonnette. Jusqu'à la mort. Sonnez le char, crayon. And that's the end of that one. How do we like Raven's attempts at French? Every French person anywhere near, run away. Pepe le pew pew. Oh my gosh, that gives a whole different image in my head if that little skunk was a little soldier man. Extra uncomfy. Okay. The next one is accented again. We're back to that. It's Bill the Bomber. Okay, I've got to go. Have a nice day, night. Thank you. You also have a good time zone. No. Ooh. That is weird. Okay. Going away from that. Release me from this weird thing that popped up. Stop it. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. There we go. Alright, but good to see you. I hope you can hear me. I don't know. Take care, yes. Alright, Bill the Bomber. Fun. Here we go. Oh, and this one's longer. So I have this for a few pages now. Okay. Not unlike the Scottish one that lasted a long time. Okay. The poppies oh. The poppies gleamed like bloody pools through cotton woolly mist. The captain kept a looking at the watch upon his wrist. And there we smoked and squatted and we watched the shrapnel flame. 'Twas wonderful, I'm tellin' you, how fast them bullets came. 'Twas weary work, the waiting though. I tried to sleep a wink, for waitin' means a thinkin', and it doesn't do to think. So I closed my eyes a little, and I had a nice-ish dream of a standin' by a dresser with a dish of Devon cream. But I hadn't time to sample it, for sudden like I woke. "Come on, me lads," the captain says, and I climbed out through the smoke. We spread out in the open, it was like a bath of lead, but the boys they cheered and hollered, fit to raise the bloody dead, till the beastly bullet copped 'em, then they lay without a sound, and it's odd we didn't seem to 'eed them corpses on the ground. And I kept on thinking as the bullets faster flew, how they picks the wary best men, which is very wary best men. I've never heard them like swap for the anyway. Okay, and they lets the rutlers through, so indiscriminating like they spares a man a sin, and a rare lad what's a husband and a father gets done in. And while having these reflections and advancing on the run, a bullet biffs me shoulder and says I, that's number one. Well, it downed me for a jiffy, but I didn't lose me calm, for I knew that I was needed. I'm a bomber, so I am. I had lost me cap and rifle, but I carried on, in quotes, because I had me bombs and knew that they was needed, so they was. We didn't 'ave no singing now, nor many men to cheer. Maybe the shrapnel drowned 'em crashin' out so wery near. Worry? How should I say this so that you guys know that it's supposed to be very, I think. Worry? Oh my gosh. And the Maxims got us sideways, and the bullets faster flew, and I copped one on me flipper, and says I, that's number two. I was pleased it was the left one, for I had me bombs, you see, and 'twas hard if they'd be wasted like and all along o' me. And I'd lost me hat and rifle, but I told you that before, so I packed me mitt inside me coat and carried on once more. Carried on being in quotes, I don't know why. Oh, 'cause of the keep on, carry on, right. But the rumpus it was wicked, and the men were scarcer yet, and I felt me ginger going, but me jaws I kind of set. Ginger going? Ginger? Anyway. And we passed the Boche first trenches, which was heaping high with dead, and we started for their second, which was 50 feet ahead. When something like a hammer smashed me savage on the knee, and I came down all muck and blood, says I, that's number 3. So there I lay all helpless like, and bloody sick at that, and worrying like anything, because I'd lost me hat, and thinking of me missus, and the parting words she said, if you gets killed, write quick, old man, and tell me as you're dead. And looking at me bunch of bombs, that was the hardest blow, to think I'd never have the chance to hurl 'em at the foe. And there was all our boys in front a-fightin' there like mad, and me as could have helped 'em with the only bombs I had, with the lovely bombs I had. And so I cussed, and then I struggled back again, into that bit of battered trench, packed solid with its slain. Back again with its slain, sorry. Slipping around with his accent, I'm not staying put. Now as I lay a-lying there and blasting of me lot, and wishing I could just dispose of all them bombs I'd got, I sees within the doorway of a shy, retiring dugout, 6 Boches all a-grinning, and their captain stuck his mug out, and they 'ad a nice machine gun, and I twigged what they was at, and they fixed it on a tripod, and I watched 'em like a cat, and they got it in position, and they seemed so very glad, like they'd got us in a death trap, which condemned their souls they had. For there our boys was fighting 50 yards in front and ear, this lousy bunch of Boches, they had got us in the rear. Oh, it set me blood a boiling, and I quite forgot me pain, so I started crawling over all the mounds of slain. And them bastards was so busy, like they had no eyes for me, and me bleeding leg was dragging, but me right arm it was free. ... And now they have it all in shape and swinging sweet and clear, and now they're all excited, like, but I am drawing near. Now they have it loaded up, and now they're taking aim. Rat-tat-tat-tat, on here, says I, is where I join the game. And my right arm it goes swinging, and a bomb it goes a slinging, and that typewriter, that's the machine, goes winging in a thunderbolt of flame. Then those Boches, what was left of them, they tumbled down their hole, and I climbed up a mound of dead, and down on them I stole. And oh, that blessed moment when I heard their frightened yell, and I laughed down in that dugout, ere I bombed their souls to hell. And now I'm in the hospital, surprised that I'm alive. We started out 1,000 men, we came back 35. And I'm minus of a trotter, but I'm most amazing gay. For me bombs they wasn't wasted, though, you might say, thrown away. Well, that's good. That's good. Okay. And that was the last one that I was going to do. Before Redeems, I should have said. And I'll tell y'all, well, I make sure that things are sorted. You can always send in the Redeems first, and then I will get to them when I can. This is the times for Redeems, so whatever you have. Little hydrate. Wooden tray it shall be. Gotta pull the stuffs out. Ooh, welcome to Emerald Lake. Name is Dave. Thank you for the follow. I don't need you. I don't need you. Things that live inside the tray can leave now. Get out of there. Okay. Do. Ooh, and then, okay. I realize I should probably remove the beaded earrings. They're a bit quiet. I'll do the beaded bracelet if it's okay. I need to remove the beaded earrings. They're just too quiet. And when I have the volume like extra up, they work, but my volume's being weird, and I don't want to trust going back and forth like that tonight. But I will do beaded sound. Redicus tosilicus. That's okay. Okay, tappy taps. Okay, there was the tray. And oh, thank you for the follow, Tone Deaf Bard 64. Welcome. Thank you for following. And now beaded bracelet. Bracelet. Okay. Here we go with this one. Alright, and now I guess thank you, Tone Deaf, for bringing in that redeem. It's the mic spring reverb. Just moving the mic to a good spot. Hold on. Okay, and that was our mic spring reverb stuff. And if that is all, Brady Kiss, glad you're happy. I'll be reading The Black Cat, our very last Edgar Allen Poe story. It's the last one. Ooh. Noisy. It's our last story in the book, so it'll be the last one of the night, and that I'll have for the foreseen future, I guess. There's no other stories that I've got here. But here we go. Alright, I'm down. Here we go. Settling in. Okay. Doing a minor posture check for myself for that. So, okay, here we go. And I will hydrate. I'll get this settled. Okay. The Black Cat. For the most wild yet most homely narrative which I am about to pen, I neither expect nor solicit belief. Mad indeed would I be to expect it in a case where my very own senses reject their own evidence. Yet mad am I not, and very surely do I not dream. But tomorrow I die, and today I would unburden my soul. My immediate purpose is to place before the world, plainly, succinctly, and without comment, a series of mere household events. In their consequences, these events have terrified, have tortured, have destroyed me. Yet I will not attempt to expound them. To me they have presented little but horror. To many they will seem less terrible than baroques. Hereafter perhaps some intellect may be found which will reduce my phantasm to the commonplace, some intellect more calm, more logical, and far less excitable than my own, which will perceive, in the circumstances I detail with awe, nothing more than an ordinary succession of very natural causes and effects. From infancy, I was noted for the docility and humanity of my disposition. My tenderness of heart was even so conspicuous. They've got it cut in half, so I was like, what is this word? My tenderness of heart was even so conspicuous as to make me the jest of my companions. I was especially fond of animals, and was indulged by my parents with a great variety of pets. With these I spent most of my time, and never was so happy as when feeding and caressing them. This peculiarity of character grew with my growth, and in my manhood I derived from it one of my principal sources of pleasure. To those who have cherished an affection for a faithful and sagacious dog, I need hardly be at the trouble of explaining the nature or the intensity of the gratification thus derivable. There is something in the unselfish and self-sacrificing love of a brute which goes directly to the heart of him who has had frequent occasion to test the paltry friendship and gossamer fidelity of mere man. I married early, and was happy to find in my wife a disposition not uncongenial with my own. Observing my partiality for domestic pets, she lost no opportunity of procuring those of the most agreeable kind. We had birds, goldfish, a fine dog, rabbits, a small monkey, and a cat. This latter was a remarkably large and beautiful animal, entirely black, and sagacious to an astonishing degree. In speaking of his intelligence, my wife, who at heart was not a little tinctured with superstition, made frequent allusion to the ancient popular notion, which regarded black cats as witches in disguise. Not that she was ever serious upon this point, and I mention the matter at all for no better reason than that it happens just now to be remembered. Pluto, this was the cat's name, was my favorite pet and playmate. I alone fed him, and he attended me wherever I went about the house. It was even with difficulty that I could prevent him from following me through the streets. Our friendship lasted, in this manner, for several years, during which my general temperament and character, through the instrumentality of the fiend intemperance, had, I blush to confess it, experienced a radical alteration for the worse. I grew day by day more moody, more irritable, more regardless of the feelings of others. I suffered myself to use, because the word's caught in half, intemperate language to my wife. At length I even offered her personal violence. Oh, excuse me, sir. Okay, my pets, of course, were made to feel the change in my disposition. I not only neglected but ill-used them. For Pluto, however, I still retained sufficient regard to restrain me from maltreating him, as I made no scruple of maltreating the rabbits, the monkey, or even the dog, when by accident or through affection they came in my way. But my disease grew upon me, for what disease is like alcohol? And at length even Pluto, who was now becoming old and consequently somewhat peevish, even Pluto began to experience the effects of my ill temper. So far everything feels like it could be real, especially knowing some of the story about his life, his death. This is feeling like it's just a diary. One night, returning home much intoxicated from one of my haunts about town, I fancied that the cat avoided my presence. I seized him, when, in his fright at my violence, he inflicted a slight wound upon my hand with his teeth. The fury of a demon instantly possessed me. I knew myself no longer. My original soul seemed at once to take its flight from my body, and a more than fiendish malevolence, gin-nurtured brain, thrilled every fibre of my frame. So, I'm gonna just take a second to, because I was realizing I should have said this one, that someone had said that there is, and now they've alerted to it, there's more specific animal violence. Pop out if you would like to do that. Very fair to pop out, to not hear this. I took from my waistcoat pocket a penknife, opened it, grasped the poor beast by the throat, and deliberately cut out one of its eyes from the socket. I blush, I burn, I shudder while I pen the damnable atrocity. When reason returned with the morning, when I had slept off the fumes of the night's debauch, I experienced a sentiment half of horror, half of remorse, for the crime of which I had been guilty. But it was at best a feeble and unequivocal feeling, and the soul remained untouched. I again plunged into excess, and soon drowned in wine all memory of the deed. In the meantime the cat slowly recovered. The socket of the lost eye presented, it is true, a frightful appearance, but he no longer appeared to suffer any pain. He went about the house as usual, but, as might be expected, he fled in extreme horror at my approach. I had so much of my old heart left as to be at first grieved by this evident dislike on the part of the creature which had once so loved me, but this feeling soon gave place to irritation. And then came, as if to my final and irrevocable overthrow, the spirit of perversiveness. Of this spirit philosophy takes no account, yet I am not more sure that my soul lives than I am that perverseness is one of the primitive impulses of the human heart, one of the invisible primary faculties or sentiments which give direction to the character of man, who has not 100 times found himself committing a vile or silly action for no other reason than he knows he should not. Have we not a perpetual inclination, in the teeth of our best judgment, to violate that which is law, merely because we understand it to be such? This spirit of perverseness, I say, came to my final overthrow. It was this unfathomable longing of the soul to vex itself, to offer violence to its own nature, to do wrong for the wrong's sake only, that urged me to continue and finally to consummate the injury I had inflicted upon the unoffending brute. One morning in cold blood I slipped a noose about its neck and hung it to the limb of a tree, hung it with the tears streaming from my eyes and with the bitterest remorse at my heart, hung it because I knew that it had loved me and because I felt it had given me no reason of offense, hung it because I knew that in so doing I was committing a sin, a deadly sin that would so jeopardize my immortal soul as to place it, if such a thing were possible, even beyond the reach of the infinite mercy of the most merciful and most terrible God. On the night of the day on which this cruel deed was done, I was aroused from sleep by the cry of fire. The curtains of my bed were in flames. The whole house was blazing. It was with great difficulty that my wife, a servant, and myself made our escape from the conflagration. The destruction was complete. My entire worldly wealth was swallowed up, and I resigned myself thenceforward to despair. I am above the weakness of seeking to establish a sequence of cause and effect between the disaster and the atrocity, but I am detailing a chain of facts, and wish not to leave even a possible link imperfect. On the day succeeding the fire I visited the ruins. The walls, with one exception, had fallen in. This exception was found in a compartment wall, not very thick, which stood about the middle of the house, and against which had rested the head of my bed. The plastering had here, in great measure, resisted the action of the fire, a fact which I attributed to its having been recently spread. About this wall a dense crowd were collected, and many persons seemed to be examining a particular portion of it with a very minute and eager attention. The words strange, singular, and other expressions excited my curiosity. I approached and saw, as if graven in bas relief, upon the white surface, the figure of a gigantic cat. The impression was given with an accuracy truly marvelous. There was a rope about the animal's neck. When I first beheld this apparition, for I could scarcely regard it as less, my wonder and my terror were extreme. But at length reflection came to my aid. The cat, I remembered, had been hung in a garden adjacent to the house. Upon the alarm of fire, this garden had been immediately filled by the crowd by someone of whom the animal must have been cut from the tree and thrown, through an open window, into my chamber. This had probably been done with the view of arousing me from sleep. The falling of other walls had compressed the victim of my cruelty into the substance of the freshly spread plaster, the lime of which, with the flames and the ammonia from the carcass, had then accomplished the portraiture as I saw it. Although I thus readily accounted to my reason, if not altogether to my conscience, for the startling fact just detailed, it did not the less fail to make a deep impression upon my fancy. For months I could not rid myself of the phantasm of the cat, and during this period there came back into my spirit a half-sentiment that seemed, but was not, remorse. I went so far as to regret the loss of the animal, and to look about me among the vile haunts which I now habitually frequented, for another pet of the same species, and of somewhat similar appearance, with which to supply its place. One night, as I sat half stupefied in a den of more than infamy, my attention was suddenly drawn to some black object, reposing upon the head of one of the immense hogsheads of gin or of rum, which constituted the chief furniture of the apartment. I had been looking steadily at the top of this hogshead for some minutes, and what now caused me surprise was the fact that I had not sooner perceived the object thereupon. I approached it and touched it with my hand. It was a black cat, a very large one, fully as large as Pluto, and closely resembling him in every respect but one. Pluto had not a white hair upon any portion of his body, but this cat had a large, although indefinite, splotch of white, covering nearly the whole region of the breast. Upon my touching him, he immediately arose, purred loudly, rubbed against my hand, and appeared delighted with my notice. This, then, was the very creature of which I was in search. I had once offered to purchase it of the landlord, but this person made no claim to it, knew nothing of it, had never seen it before. I continued my caresses, and when I prepared to go home, the animal evinced a disposition to accompany me. I permitted it to do so, occasionally stooping and patting it as I proceeded. When it reached the house, it domesticated itself at once and became immediately a great favorite with my wife. Was your wife not concerned with the whole stuff that you had done before? Did she not notice? Did you lie to her? Sorry. For my own part, I soon found dislike to it arising within me. This was just the reverse of what I had anticipated, but I know not how or why it was. Its evident fondness for myself rather disgusted and annoyed. By slow degrees, these feelings of disgust and annoyance rose to the bitterness of hatred. I avoided the creature, a certain sense of shame and the remembrance of my former deed of cruelty preventing me from physically abusing it. I did not for some weeks strike or otherwise violently ill use it, but gradually, very gradually, I came to look upon it with utterable loathing, and to flee silently from its obvious presence, as from the breath of a pestilence. I think there might be a little something off with this guy. Yeah. Yes. There was. I'd like to think that this was pure story, but this one reads so way too much like it's him. Knowing him especially, but okay. What added, no doubt, to my hatred of the beast was the discovery, on the morning after I brought it home, that, like Pluto, it also had been deprived of one of its eyes. The circumstance, however, only endeared it to my wife, who, as I have already said, possessed in a high degree that humanity of feeling which had once been my distinguishing trait, and the source of many of my simplest and purest pleasures. He doesn't clarify that he took the eye this time. It looks like the cat lost his eye very randomly the next morning, not from our storyteller. Anyway, okay. With my aversion to this cat, however, its partiality for myself seemed to increase. It followed my footsteps with a pertinacity which it would be difficult to make the reader comprehend. Whenever I sat, it would crouch beneath my chair or spring up upon my knees, covering me with its loathsome caresses. If I arose to walk, it would get between my feet and thus nearly throw me down, or fastening its long and sharp claws in my dress chamber, in this manner to my breast. At such times, although I longed to destroy it with a blow, I was yet withheld from so doing, partly by a memory of my former crime, but chiefly, let me confess it at once, by absolute dread of the beast. This dread was not exactly a dread of physical evil, as yet I should be at a loss how otherwise to define it. I am almost ashamed to own, yes, even in this felon's cell, I am almost ashamed to own that the terror and horror with which the animal inspired me had been heightened by one of the merest chimeras it would be possible to conceive. My wife had called my attention, more than once, to the character of the mark of the white hair, of which I have spoken, and which constituted the sole visible difference between the strange beast and the one I had destroyed. The reader will remember that this mark, although large, had been originally very indefinitive, but by slow degrees nearly imperceptible, in which for a long time my reason struggled to reject as fanciful, it had at length assumed a rigorous distinctness of an outline. It was now the representation of an object that I shudder to name, and for this, above all, I loathed and dreaded, and would have rid myself of the monster had I dared. It was now, I say, the image of a hideous and ghastly thing, of the gallows. O mournful and terrible engine of horror and of crime, of agony and of death! And now was I, indeed, wretched beyond the wretchedness of mere humanity, and a brute beast, whose fellow I had contemptuously destroyed, a brute beast to work out for me a man fashioned in the image of the high God, so much of insufferable woe. Alas, neither by day nor by night knew I the blessing of rest any more. During the former, the creature left me no moment alone, and in the latter I started hourly from dreams of unutterable fear to find the hot breath of the thing upon my face, and its vast weight an incarnate nightmare that I had no power to shake off, incumbent eternally upon my heart. Someone called the cats hard to deal with him. Beneath the pressure of torments such as these, the feeble remnant of the good within me succumbed. Why did I see an ER? Evil thoughts became my sole intimates, the darkest and most evil of thoughts. The moodiness of my usual temper increased to hatred of all things and of all mankind, while from the sudden, frequent, and ungovernable outbursts of a fury to which I now blindly abandoned myself, my uncomplaining wife, alas, was the most usual and most patient of sufferers. One day she accompanied me upon some household errand into the cellar of the old building which our poverty compelled us to inhabit. The cat followed me down the steep stairs, and nearly throwing me headlong, exasperated me to madness. Uplifting an axe, and forgetting in my wrath the childish dread which had hitherto stayed my hand, I aimed a blow at the animal, which of course would have proved instantly fatal had it descended as I wished. But this blow was arrested by the hand of my wife. Oh no. Goaded by the interference into a rage more than demoniacal, I withdrew my arm from her grasp and buried the axe in her brain. She fell dead upon the spot without a groan. The hideous murder accomplished, I set myself forthwith in entire deliberation to the task of concealing the body. I knew that I could not remove it from the house, either by day or by night, without the risk of being observed by the neighbors. Many projects entered my mind. Nice. No, Lahonk, no. Many projects entered my mind. At one period I thought of cutting the corpse into minute fragments and destroying them by fire. Cutting and burning, you say. Where's Frigid? At another I resolved to dig a grave for it in the floor of the cellar. Again I deliberated about casting it in the well in the yard, about packing it in a box as if merchandise. Sorry, yawn attack. As if packing it in a box as if merchandise with the usual arrangements, and so getting a porter to take it from the house. Finally, I hit upon what I considered a far better expedient than either of these. I determined to wall it up in the cellar, as the monks of the Middle Ages are recorded to have walled up their victims. For a purpose such as this, the cellar was well adapted. Its walls were loosely constructed, and had lately been plastered throughout with a rough plaster, which the dampness of the atmosphere had prevented from hardening. Moreover, in one of the walls was a projection, caused by a false chimney or fireplace, that had been filled up, and made to resemble the rest of the cellar. I made no doubt that I could readily displace the bricks at this point, insert the corpse, and wall the whole up as before, so that no eye could detect anything suspicious. Okay, and in this calculation I was not deceived. By means of a crowbar I easily dislodged the bricks, and having carefully deposited the body against the inner wall, I propped it in that position, while with little trouble I relaid the whole structure as it originally stood. Having procured mortar, sand, and hair, with every possible precaution, I prepared a plaster which could not be distinguished from the old, and with this I carefully went over the new brick work. When I had finished, I felt satisfied that it was all right. The wall did not present the slightest appearance of having been disturbed. The rubbish on the floor was picked up with the minutest care. I looked around triumphantly and said to myself, "Here at least, then, my labor has not been in vain." The next step was to look for the beast which had been the cause of so much wretchedness, for I had, at length, firmly resolved to put it to death. Go to sleep or I'll take your origami. What? Firmly resolved to put it to death. Had I been able to meet with it at the moment, there could have been no doubt of its fate, but it appeared that the crafty animal had been alarmed at the violence of my previous anger. I wonder why, and forbore to present itself in my present mood. It is impossible to describe or to imagine the blissful sense of relief which the absence of the detested creature occasioned in my bosom. It did not make its appearance during the night, and thus for one night at least, since its introduction into the house, I soundly and tranquilly slept. I slept, even with the burden of murder upon my soul. The second and the third day passed, and still not my tormentor came not. Once again I breathed as a free man. The monster, in terror, had fled the premises forever. I should behold it no more. My happiness was supreme. The guilt of my dark deed disturbed me but little. Some few inquiries had been made, but these had been readily answered. Even a search had been instituted, but of course nothing was to be discovered. I looked upon my future felicity as secured. Upon the fourth day of the assassination, a party of the police came, very unexpectedly, into the house, and proceeded again to make rigorous investigation of the premises. Secure, however, in the inscrutability of my place of concealment, I felt no embarrassment whatever. The officers bade me accompany them in their search. They left no nook or corner unexplored. At length, for the third or fourth time, they descended into the cellar. I quivered not in a muscle. My heart beat calmly as that of one who slumbers in innocence. I walked the cellar from end to end. I folded my arms upon my bosom, and roamed easily to and fro. The police were thoroughly satisfied and prepared to depart. The glee at my heart was too strong to be restrained. I burned to say, if but one word, but by way of triumph, and to render doubly sure their assurance of my guiltiness. Gentlemen, I said at last, as the party ascended the steps, I delight to have allayed your suspicions. I wish you all health and a little more courtesy. By the by, gentlemen, this is a very well-constructed house. In the rabid desire to say something easily, I scarcely knew what I uttered at all. I may say an excellently well-constructed house. These walls, are you going, gentlemen? These walls are solidly put together. And there, through the mere frenzy of bravado, I rapped heavily with a cane which I held in my hand upon that very portion of the brickwork behind which stood the corpse of the wife of my bosom. But may God shield and deliver me from the fangs of the arch-fiend. No sooner had the reverberations of my blows sunk into silence than I was answered by a voice within the tomb, by a cry, at first muffled and broken like sobbing of a child, and then quickly swelling into one long, loud, and continuous scream, utterly anomalous and inhuman. A howl, a wailing shriek, half of horror and half of triumph, such as might have arisen only out of hell, conjointly from the throats of the damned in their agony, and of the demons that exult in the damnation. Of my own thoughts it is folly to speak. Swooning, I staggered to the opposite wall. For one instant the party upon the stairs remained motionless, through extremity of terror and of awe. In the next, a dozen stout arms were toiling at the wall. It fell bodily. The corpse, already greatly decayed and clotten with gore, stood erect before the eyes of the spectators. Upon its head, with red, extended mouth and solitary eye of fire, sat the hideous beast whose craft had seduced me into murder, and whose informing voice had signed me to the hangman. I had walled the monster up within the tomb. Ah, he had put the cat in there as well with the woman and didn't realize. Oops. But wow, okay. I'm getting incredibly sleepy, so I think I'll be heading. Okay, Fet, but can you give me a raid recommendation before you go? And then you can. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, I will copy that now and hopefully not forget. Dang, the wild things we had to do for entertainment before the internet was invented, huh? No. No. Um, we did not all do that. Just started 10 minutes. Oh, that's good. Welcome to Emerald Lake Claspers? Why is my brain not seeing that very well? But thank you for the follow, Claspers. Thank you. Lahonk says angry and then gentleman, and I'm confused, but okay. Um, Time for the singing frog. We have our redeems, and I have a singing frog to do now. But if you have others, please drop them in. We'll do those. Singing frog, singing frog. Okay, here we go. All right. I have to run an ad, so I'm going to do that, and then we'll have other redeems come in. And then we'll get back to poems from Robert Service. Okay, Cage. Go off. Go to bed. Take care. Sleep well. Pet's tucking you in. I love that little emote. Okay, so I did a little singing frog. Ooh. Alrighty. Oh yeah, I meant to update this. I did not change my follower goals. Do. Okay. New follower goal. But okay. Alright, if we have no other redeems, I'll just move on to poetry again. But I'll give you guys a moment to put those in. Remember, you can put in the redeems at any point. And I'll just get to them as soon as I'm at one of the reading breaks. Okay. Well. Oh, singing bowl. I was wondering when I'd get the next singing bowl because it has been a while. Let's do singing bowl. Perfect after singing frog. I just have to change one word. Here we go. Come on, sit in the right spot. Here we go. Okay. Oh, sorry. That was our singing bowl. Thank you for the follow. 3Dex3. Thank you. Welcome to Emerald Lake. Welcome, welcome. Yes, bowls can sing, and that is how. Glad you like it, Bredicus. Thank you. Okay. With that, I think it is more poems time. So, more moody poems from World War One. Maybe ending up with an accent or not. Oh goodness, come on. Alright, here we go. Oh yes, it's that one first. I need to challenge this thing. I always forget. Alright. Oh! Hey! You're coming in with a raid. Thank you for your raid. Welcome, welcome. You guys can come and settle in. I'm just gonna update my stuffs real quick. Raid, raid, raid. Yes. Hello. Yeah, so they're blocking that because it's a comment on race, but I am Gringa, mostly. Hello. This is an English stream though, so I'll ask for the most part to keep to the English little things. Sorry. Have to remember this. I'm trying to write. Thank you. I like my model a good lot. Oh, there we go. Olivia Live 2D, I think is what her name is, that helped me. She made it, I colored it, and then I asked her for antlers, and we worked on that a bit together. Double checking. That is the name of this poem, yes. The Whistle of Sandy McGraw. Yes, that's it. Okay. Hello, welcome in. If you have to go ahead. 3Dex3, go rest, hydrate, get a break, go sleep, whatever you need. But thank you for bringing me your little community. I appreciate. Okay, so Here's the deal. We're reading poetry, but this is specifically a book, an old book that I have for no good reason. Things that you end up with, man. Random stuff. The book is called Rhymes of a Red Cross Man by Robert W. Service. It was published in 1916. It is pretty much entirely poems about World War I. So brace yourselves for that. And ever so often, there is poems with intended accents. So I will read it in an accent. And some of the stuff, little bits of French sprinkled in sometimes, like a phrase or something. Anyway, it's World War I stuffs. So brace yourselves for not a terribly fun time. Ooh, thank you for the hydrate. I will hydrate. Okay, thank you. Okay. This one is an accent one, so here we go. Okay. You newbies, I apologize in advance. You may talk. Oh my gosh, no. You may talk o' your lutes and your dulcimers fine, your harps and your tabors and your and cymbals and cymbals and all. But here in the trenches, just gie me for mine the wee penny whistle of Sandy McGraw. I'm a little worried. Anyway, okay. Oh, it's Sandy, my lad, will you lilt us a tune? And Sandy is willin' and trillin' like mad. Say, silvery sweet, that we a throng around, and some of it's gay, but the maist, oh no, it's Scottish. It is, oh no. Okay. We did this before, and I want to try it again. I'm going to pop out for but a minute. I want you to drop redeems for when after I've read this next chunk. I'll read a few poems and then we'll do redeems ASMR triggers, but I need to get my Scottish on because I did this last time and they said I did pretty okay at the start. So I'm gonna try it. I'll be away just a minute at most. Okay, I'm back and I have to try and hold on to it. I may lose it very quickly. Oh God, this is so dumb. Okay, the whistle of Sandy McGraw. You may talk o' your lutes and your dulcimers fine, your harps and your tabors and cymbals and a', But here in the trenches, just gimme for mine the wee penny whistle o' Sandy McGraw. Oh, it's Sandy, my lad, will you lilt us a tune? And Sandy, it's willin' and trillin' like mad. Say silvery sweet that we a throng around, and some of it's gay, and the maist of it's sad. Just the wee sample airs that sink into your heart. Oh my gosh, losing it. Hold on to it. Ah! And group ye we love, and we youngin' for aim. No, I'm losing it. Ah! Dirty pipe. Just the wee sample airs that sink into your heart, and group wi' your love, and wi' your longing for aim, for him, and you glower like an owl till you're feeling the slurt o' a tear, and you blink wi' a feeling of shame. Oh, I'm losing it. For the songs of the heather, and here in the dirt, you listen and dream of the land that's sae braw, and it makes you forget o' the arm in the hurt, the arm in the hurt. For he pipes like a laverick, the Sandy McGraw. We're trying. At Eepers I mind me, when rank upon rank, we rose from the trenches and swept like the gale, till the rapid fire guns got us fell on the flank, and the murdering bullets came swishing like hail. Till that were left of us faltered and broke, till it seemed for a moment a panicky rout, when shrill through the fume and the flash and the smoke the wee valiant voice of a whistle piped out, "The Campbells are comin'!" Then into the fray we bounded with bayonets reeking and raw, and oh, we fair revelled in glory that day, jist thanks to the whistle of Sandy McGraw. At loose it was after a sconnersome fecht. On the field of the slain I was crawling about, and the rockets were burning red holes in the night, and the guns were viciously thundering out, when sudden I heard a bit sound like a sigh, and there in a crumple a kiltie I saw. "What ails ye, my lad? What ails ye, my lad? Are ye wounded?" says I. "I've lost my wee whistle," says Sandy McGraw. "'Twas out by yon bing where we pressed the attack. It drapped from a pouch, and between noo and dawn there isna much time, so I'm just crawling back." "You're daft, man," I tell't him, but Sandy was gone. Well, I waited a wee, and I crawled out mysel', and the big stuff was goring and roaring around, and I seemed to be under the oxter o' hell, and creation was cracking to bits by the sound. And I says in my mind, "Gang ye back, ye old fool," when I thrilled to a note that was saucy and sma', and there in a crater collected and cool, wi' his wee penny whistle was Sandy McGraw. Aye, there he was playin' as gleg as could be, and listening hard with a spectacled bosh. Then Sandy turned round and he nodded to me, and he says, "Dinna blab on me, Sergeant McTosh. The old chap is deein', he likes me to play. It's making him happy just see his in shine, and thrilling and sweet in the art of the fray. We Sandy was playing the Watch on the Rhine." Still 2 pages. The last scene o', 'twas the day that we took that bit o' black ruin they call Labicelle. It seemed the hillside just shivered and shook, and the red skies were roaring and spewing out shell, and the sergeants were cursing to keep us in hand, and hard on the leash we were straining like dogs, when upward we shot at the word of command, and the bullets were dinging their songs in our lungs, and onward we swept wi' a yell and a cheer, and a whist destruction, and confusion and din, and we knew that the trench of the bushes was near, and it seemed just the safest bit all to be in. So we all trumpled down, and the bushes were there, and they held up their hands and they yelled, "Kamerad!" And I marched off with with their palms in the air, and I was proud like, and I was glad, and I thought, that's what I thought. If my lassie could see me just then, when sudden I sobered at something I saw, and I stopped and I stared and I halted my men, for there on a stretcher was Sandy McGraw. Weel, he looks in my face, just as pert as you please. "You ken who I hate to be working," says he. You ken how who I hate to be working," says he. "But no, I can play in the street for bobbies, with baith of my legs taken off at the knee, and all I could see he was racked with pain. He reached for his whistle and started to play. Oh, I'm losing it. And quavering sweet was the plaintive refrain. The flowers o' the forest are a wid away. Then sudden he stopped it. Man, was it no grand how we took a them trenches? He shaken his head. I'll no play nae more. Feebly down frae his hand, slipped the wee penny whistle, and Sandy was dead. And so you may talk o' your Steinways and Strads, your wonderful organs and brasses sae braw, but out in the trenches just gimme my lads, yon wee penny whistle o' Sandy McGraw. I can't. Well, it's done. Thankfully, I got through it. The Scots hate me, I'm sure. Oh my god. This is where I needed to have Cage and Fett so that they could laugh at me, specifically them. Bradicus, thank you. For whatever reason, that's not loading in the, uploading that. LaHonk eating popcorn at it, thank you. Okay. I'll have to ask them to watch back the VOD so that they know I did it again. I tried. Okay. And this is the British accent. This is a short one, but it's another accent. This one is the stretcher bearer. Okay. My brain is mashing these accents together though now, so it's not good. I have to look back at it. My stretcher is one scarlet stain, and as I tries to scrape it clean, I tell you what, I'm sick with pain, for all I've heard, for all I've seen. Here we go. It is 1:30 a.m. for me, Brady. Okay, tell you what, I'm sick with pain, for all I've heard, for all I've seen. Round me's the hellish night, and as the war's red rim I trace, I wonder if in heaven's sight, our God don't turn away his face. I don't care whose the crime may be, I holds no brief for kin or clan. I ims no hate, I only see, as man destroys his brother man. Oh no. There's a little bit of mold in my book. It is that old. Okay. I waves no flag, I only know, as here beside the dead I wait. A million hearts is weighted with woe, a million homes is desolate. In dripping darkness far and near, All night I've sought them I've sought them woeful ones. Dawn shudders up, and I still hear the crimson chorus of the guns. Look, like a ball of blood, the sun hangs o'er the scene of wrath and wrong. Quick, quick, stretcher bearers on the run! Oh, Prince of Peace, how long, how long? It was a short one, like I said, but it wasn't back-to-back accents. Now I'm free, though. Okay. This one is just called Wounded. Alrighty. I don't have to put on an accent. I don't have to think extra brain. Oh, alright. But then it means it's just straight sad. There's no Raven's terrible accent to lift you up. I'm sorry. Okay. Is it not strange? A year ago today, with scarce a thought beyond the humdrum round, I did my decent job and earned my pay, was averagely happy, I'll be bound. I, in my little groove, I was content, seeing my life run smoothly to the end, with prosy days and stolid labor spent, and jolly nights, a pipe, a glass, a friend. In God's good time, a hearth fire's cozy gleam, a wife and kids, and all a fellow needs. When presto, like a bubble goes my dream, I leap upon the stage of splendid deeds. I yell with rage, I wallow deep in gore, I, that was clerk in a dry salter's store. Stranger than any book I've ever read, here on the reeking battlefield I lie, under the stars, propped up with smeary dead, like, too, if no one takes me in to die. Hit on the arms, legs, liver, lungs, and gall, damn glad there's nothing more of me to hit. But calm, and feeling never pain at all, and full of wonder at the turn of it. For of the dead around me 3 are mine, 3 foemen vanquished in the whirl of fight. So if I die, I have no right to whine, I feel I've done my little bit all right. I don't know how, but there are beggars here, as dead as herrings pickled in a jar. And here am I, worse wounded than I thought, for in the fight a bullet bee-like stings. You never heed, the air is metal hot, and all alive with little flicking things. But on you charge, you see the fellows fall, your pal was by your side, fair fighting mad. You turn to him, and lo, no pal at all, you wonder vaguely if he's copped it bad. But on your charge the heavens vomit death, and vicious death is bosoming the ground. You're blind with sweat, you're dazed and out of breath, and though you yell, you cannot hear a sound. But on you charge, oh, war's a rousing game, around you smoky clouds like ogres tower, the earth is rolled up with spurs of flame, and on your helmet stones and ashes shower. But on you charge, it's odd, you have no fear, machine gun bullets whip and lash your path. Red, yellow, black, and smoky giants rear, the shrapnel rips, the heavens roar in wrath. But on you charge, barbed wire all trampled down, the ground all gored and rent as by a blast. Grim heaps of grey where once were heaps of brown, a ragged ditch, the Hun first line at last. All smashed to hell, their second right ahead, so on you charge, there's nothing else to do. More reeking holes, blood, barbed wire, gruesome dead, your putty straps undone that worries you. Hello! Oh my goodness! 21 people rating in. Hello! Hello everyone rating in. Welcome. Kyokuma, thank you for bringing people in. Go ahead and rest if you need to. You can pop right on out. Oh, that's a cute little emote, little gift. Hi. Hello everyone. So we're reading some poetry now. It's poems from Rhymes of a Red Cross Man by Robert W. Service, and it's from 1916, World War I. So it's all very somber. But every once in a while there's a poem that is clearly written with an accent, and you get to hear me be very sillily trying to do that. So it's very somber, but then every once in a while I'm a little weird. So if you don't want to hear these very sad poems, dark poems, go ahead and vanish. It's very fair. But if you're not paying attention to what I'm saying, then, like, if you're not really taking the meaning of the poems, you're just listening to sounds, then that's good. I said, yeah, I'm going to bed now. Sorry. No, it's all good. I do it all the time. Go ahead, go sleep. Thank you for bringing people in. Have a good rest. Good night. Okay. But yes, I've given you the warning. This is a heck of a thing to be joining in on. Anyway, okay. You glare around, you think you're all alone, but no, your chums come surging left and right. The nearest chap flops down without a groan, his face still snarling with the rage of fight. Ah, here's the second trench, just like the first, only a little more so, more laid out, more pounded, flame-corroded, death-accursed. A pretty piece of work beyond a doubt. Now for the third, and there your job is done. So on you charge, you never stop to think, your cursed putties trailing as you run. You feel you'd sell your soul to have a drink. The acrid air is full of cracking whips. You wonder how it is you're going still. You foam with rage, oh God, to be at grips with someone you can rush and crush and kill. Sadly, I can't stay long. I have to sleep. Good night. Yes, good night. Go sleep. Take care of yourself. Thank you for popping in for a little minute anyway. Thank you very much. Okay. Your sleeve is dripping blood. You're seeing red. You're battle mad. Your turn is coming now. See, there's the jagged barbed wire straight ahead. And there's the trench. You'll get there anyhow. Your putty catches on a strand of wire, and down you go. Perhaps it saves your life, for over sandbag rims you'll see 'em fire. Crop-headed chaps, their eyes ablaze with strife. You crawl, you cower, then once again you plunge, with all your comrades roaring at your heels. Have at 'em, lads, you stab, you jab, you lunge. A blaze of glory, then the red world reels. A crash of triumphs, then... ... you're faint a bit... ... That cursed putty! Now to fasten it... ... Well, there's the charge, and now I'm here alone. I built a little wall of Hun on Hun, to shield me from the leaded bees that drone. It saves me worry, and it hurts 'em none. The only thing I'm wondering is when some stretcher men will stroll along my way. It isn't much that's left of me, but then... Where life is, hope is, so at least they say. Well, if I'm spared, I'll be the happy lad. I tell you I won't envy any king. I've stood the racket and I'm proud and glad. I've had my crowning hour. Oh, war's the thing. It gives us common working chaps our chance. Taste of glory, chivalry, romance. Why do they keep saying romance for this? Misunderstanding the connotations of this word, I think. Me, not them. They must have some reason. Aye, war, they say, is hell. It's heaven, too. It lets a man discover what he's worth. It takes his measures, shows what he can do. Gives him a joy like nothing else on earth. It fans in him a flame that otherwise would flicker out these drab and sordid days. Teaches him, in pain and sacrifice, faith, fortitude, grim courage past all praise. Yes, war is good, so here beside my slain, a happy wreck I wait amid the din. For even if I perish, mine's the gain. Hi there, you fellows, won't you take me in? Give me a cigarette, it's not what they say here, to smoke upon the way. We've taken Laboiselle, the hell you say. Well, that would make a corpse sit up and grin, ... Lead on, I'll live to fight another day. Well, and now we've got a very, very short one. Faith. Since all that is ever bound to be, since grim eternal laws are being bind, and both the riddle and the answer find, and both the carnage and the calm decree. Since plain within the book of destiny is written all the journeys of mankind, and inexorably to the end, since blind and mortal puppets playing parts are we. Then let's have faith, good cometh out of ill. The power that shaped the strife shall end the strife. Then let's bow down before the unknown will, fight on, believing all is well with life, seeing within the worst of war's red rage the gleam, the glory of the golden age. So say you, Mr. Service, I guess. And then, I'm pretty sure this is the last one. Yeah, this is the last one before I'll take a break. So, drop in your redeems. I'll do them right after this poem. And if you don't have the ribbits, the channel points for a redeem, you can go ahead and ask me for them. I'll probably do it. The only reason I wouldn't is if for some reason there was a bunch of redeems, but there usually is not. Okay, The Coward. This is the last poem of the night before I do little redeems and then wrap up. So let's enjoy this one. It is an accent. Woohoo! Have you seen Bill's mug in the news today? Oh, thank you for the follow, Talva Emir. Yeah? Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Okay, back to my crappy accent. Oh, thank you for the follow, Subject 11. Thank you. Welcome. Okay. Have you seen Bill's mug in the news today? He's joined the Victoria Cross, they say. Little Bill what would grizzle and run away if you 'it him a swipe on the jar. He slaughtered the Kaiser's men in tons. He's captured one of their quick-fire guns, and he hadn't no practice in killing Huns before he went off to the war. Little Bill what I nussed in his baby clothes. Little Bill what told me his childish woes. What accent is this? It's what I'm doing. I'm sorry. It's just the weird kind of Cockney British one. I don't know. Told me his childish woes. How often I've tidied his poor little nose with the M of me pinafore. And now all the papers his praises ring, and he's shaken the hand of the king. And I saw him today in the ward, poor thing, where they're patching him up once more. And he says, "What do you think of it, Liza Ann?" And I says, "Well, I can't make it out, old man. You look at it as soon as a scrap began, when you was a bit of a kid. You'd look it as soon as a... You'd ook it, you'd book it. You'd ook it as soon as a scrap began, when you was a bit of a kid." And he whispers, "Ear on the quiet, Liz. They're making too much of the old damn biz. On the papers is printing me ugly face. But, ... I'm hanged if I know what I did. Oh, the captain comes and he says, 'Look here, they're far too quiet out there, it's queer, they're up to something. Who'll volunteer to crawl in the dark and see?' And I felt me heart like a hammer go, and up jumps a chap and he says, 'Right-o!' But I chips in straight and I says, 'Oh no, he's a missus and kids, take me.' And the next I knew I was sneaking out, and the oozy corpses was all about. And I felt so scared I wanted to shout, and my skin was fair prickled with fear. And I says, 'You coward, you had no right to take on the job of a man this night.' Yet I still kept creeping till, horrid sight, the trench of the Huns was near." I apologize, I can't stay any longer. No worries, go ahead. Go sleep. Get away from my terrible accents, lol. Rest well. We'll see you another time, Subject. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the follow. It was all so dark, it was all so still, yet something pushed me against me will. How I wanted to turn. Yet I crawled until I was seeing a dim light shine. Then I thinks I'll just go a little bit and see what the deuce I can make of it. And it seemed to come from the mouth of a pit. "Christmas," says I, "a mine." Then here's the part what I can't explain. I wanted to make for home again, but something was blazing inside me brain, so I crawled to the trench instead, and I saw the bullet head of a Un, and he stood by a rapid fire gun. And I lifted a rock and I hit him one, and he dropped like a chunk of lead. Then all the Uns that was underground comes up with a rush, and on with a bound, and I swings that giddy old Maxim round and belts 'em solid and square. You see, I was off me chump with fear. If I'm sellin' me life, says I, it's dear. And the trench was narrow and they was near, so I prepped the brutes for fair. So I held 'em back, and I yelled with fright, and the boys attacked, and we had a fight, and we captured a section of trench that night, which we didn't expect to get. And they found me there with me Maxim gun, and I laid out a score if I laid out one, and I fainted away when the thing was done, and I haven't got over it yet. Terrified, but he did it. I wouldn't call him a coward at all. Okay, anyway. So that's the history Bill told me. Of course, it's on the strict QT. It wouldn't do to get out, you see, as he hacked it against his will. But he's convalescing with all his might, and he hopes to be fit for another fight. Say, ain't he a bit of the real, all right? What's the matter with Bill? Nothing's the matter with him besides his medical attentions that needs to happen, I guess. But okay. That was our last bit, and there's not terribly many poems left in the book. Let's see. From The Coward to okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 stories, but from page 169 to the end. So 195. That's nearly 30 pages. I'm going to say, yeah, I'll leave that for another time and we'll read something else. I'll have to sort it out. I have to pick things tomorrow, I guess. Whew. And it's the last read tomorrow, so that's, or it's the last stream tomorrow before my couple of days break, so that's not a terrible timing. But alright, okay. Redeems, if you have redeems, and if not, I will try to read. How about that? I will try to finish the book. The honk. Bongo. Bongo, bongo, bongo. What do you think, Lahonk? Should I read? Or should I do redeems? It doesn't seem much is happening with redeems. I usually stream till 2. So I have 10 minutes. And 30 pages. I could probably do. Where do we start this one? Whistle. Ooh, page flipping from Brady. Okay. And we shall do page flipping. Alright, we'll do redeems and then we'll raid out and I'll do those poems and we'll figure out what else I'll read. I think I have a plan. But okay, here we go. It's your birthday! Brady, happy birthday! I don't have birthday emotes or celebratory frogs, but it's I wonder if I will find it. I don't know. Yeah. Cooperates. There it is. Birthday cake. Birthday cake. Okay. Oh, we have page and brushes and origami and cards. That's perfect. Okay. I will do those things. I will put this. Ooh. Noisy. Okay, page flipping. That's what we'll do. Okay. We'll start with the little book, then the big book. Alright. There you go. And now the big book. There was our page flipping. Now I'll do brushes. Alright, brushes. Okay. Here we go. Let's turn it up. Oh, come on. Okay. Okay, and now I'll go to origami wrestling. So I'll pull the basket out. Okay, and now I'll do card dealing, and then we are set for the night. We'll be raiding out. Petster gave us a recommendation, so we'll be doing that. Okay, card dealing. Ooh. Oh, hi, Dunda. Sorry. You only just said hi. This is the trouble with our time zone issues. Sorry. Okay. Alright, that was our card dealing. I realized I forgot to change the current trigger thingy. I didn't change that. Oops. But okay. I'm sorry we have to go already when you only just said the hi, Dum Dup, but I'm gonna be putting up the going to be putting up the VOD, and you can listen to my sad attempt at Scottish again. It's interesting because I don't know if I would have done Scottish the same way, specifically like the way that this little poetry book is writing their accents. I'm trying to follow, and it's so weird every time. But anyway, okay. Oh, yeah. I hope you see it. And I don't know, were you here earlier to see the new stuff, Dumda? The popcorn, Cupid, Lurk? I feel like you gotta see those. Yes, you do. I've done it twice now. With these poetry reads, you gotta listen for you gotta look out for the poetry reads. That's where I did it twice now. But you'll have to watch the VODs. But there you go. There's our new emotes. The little popcorn, the Cupid, and the little lurker frog. They're all done. But I wanted to show you because you are one of the OGs, so you should see those. But all right, everybody. Thank you for joining me so much. Thank you for my raiders and the people that are around from those. And thank you. Glad you like them. And now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go to my ending screen, and we're going to go and raid over. We have a recommendation from Fet. The Fet had to leave. Gonna go. Dumda, if you could please do the raid commands while I set this up. There we go. Raid 1, raid 2 for mods. Can put it in. Oh, Vi. Hi, Vi. Good nights. We're just raiding out. So sweet of you to pop in. We're gonna raid out to Resident Lamonge. We're gonna raid over there. They don't often do their ASMR, I guess, but they are doing it today. Okay, come here, cozy frog raid. There we go. Okay. If everybody's ready, I'm gonna start the raids. Moving along. But again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for not immediately mocking my accent attempts. I'm going off of a very weird old book. There are ways that I definitely would not have chosen to describe that that's how they say it, but at the same time, it's not wrong. It's very interesting to read it. Alright, here we go. If you have to go, good night. I'm probably gonna have to disappear soon after joining. Alright, here we go. Okay, we are raided over. Alrighty, bye-byes if you're still listening.